Rescue the two targets. Counting on you, boss. Subject on board. Leave the rest to us.
Hier, dit is Delta 2. Gevangenen vermis. Lijkt ze zo ontsnappen. Oor. Dit is CFD, begrijp. Begin een zoektocht. Zo gauw als mogelijk. Uit.
Roger that. Target extraction confirmed. Now extract the remaining target. Targets aren't here. Got transferred somewhere, maybe.
You know, you're all right.
Amazing, boss. Getting both prisoners out in that situation. Great work. Now exfiltrate. complete. Great work. Boss, we placed the 2 targets in quarantine. They don't show signs of anything, but we'll monitor them just the same. If they had access to the Devil's House, I doubt they were sent there by some health organization. Cypher used them, and would have eliminated them eventually. But we'll protect them here. They've agreed to that. After all, we helped them out of the country as promised. The mission's complete. But boss, they've been behind the curtains at Ngamba. They examined the patients there nearly every day. They told us the patients were being made to listen to voices on tape. But the male target added something interesting. He said he doesn't know what was on the tapes because there was no English version. Of all the voices that were shoved down those people's throats, English wasn't one of them. Boss, about Eli. I'd heard that one product of the Les Enfants Terribles project went missing in Africa. The age would be about right. Now, I'm not saying I think it's Eli, but I want to run a genetic test all the same. Don't worry, I'll have it done without him noticing. The test may take some time, but I'll tell you as soon as we have the results. General's brother, his number 2. Get him out of there, boss. Limited to blows or punches. Their size and agility makes it...
Isso. Atunda. Pangi ya General ya Bakala. Ilumbu Mosi Tata ya Bankaka.
Roger.
Elaka mono mambo General Salaka. Bantu ya Buda ya mbele ketinkaka Mosi beto nyonso ke bampangi atampidina ya ikente.
Another group of child soldiers? No, must be a squad they had out on patrol. Security will be tighter now. Watch yourself.
Atampidina ya ikentango ya kuvutuka diaka.
That prisoner doesn't look like the target.
Venga, que kilo kuvuta masa. Tulambi, nambi que kilo.
He's a dead man without a rate. The contract doesn't mention him. What do you think? Worth rescuing?
Arriving shortly at LZ.
Subject is in. All that's left is to extract the commander. That's the way. Is that him? Take a good look at their faces so we can ID the targets.
Kaka beta sala. Still just a child. About the same age as those kids at the diamond mine. They may be small. They're armed just like any other soldier. Watch yourself, boss. Prisoner extracted. Next is the commander. Check the VI on your iDroid to see what he looks like. Another group of child soldiers. No, must be a squad they had out on patrol. Security will be tighter now. Watch yourself. See on those kids. Limited to throws or punches. Their size and agility makes it too hard to catch them in a restraining hold.
protect him. Don't hurt any of those kids. Disengage, or use your tranquilizer pistol or CQC to put him down gently. Roger. 2. Roger that. Mission complete, boss. Boss, about how we report this one to the client. I'll tell them we took heavy resistance from the renegade platoon, and the hostage was killed in the firefight. Also, their leader wouldn't let himself be taken alive. I doubt the client will pay us for this one, but we got a big enough reward from the General's number 2 instead. And as for the number 2, he's saying he wants to join Diamond Dogs. I guess he knows what that means for him. He said, if I'm working for you, I can be number 2 or number 200 for all I care. The NGO that asked us to rescue wild animals isn't ready to take them in yet. So we had no choice but to build an animal conservation platform. The NGO said they'll cover all expenses, including the day-to-day housing and feeding costs. If you're interested, take a chopper over and have a look. Boss, we have an emergency. Many of our staff are falling ill. At first it seemed like a common cold, but before we knew it, blisters started popping up on their chests and... Damn it. I'll fill you in at the ACC. Just get in the chopper. Look closely. Those are the symptoms of the infection on Mother Base. The blisters on the body were full of tiny worms. Parasite larvae, most likely. But we couldn't find any adults. It doesn't seem to mature in the body, like a spargatum. We don't know the root of infection, or what causes symptoms to develop. Boss, do you remember seeing these symptoms before? The bodies floating around in the oil facility, the bedridden test subjects at the Devil's House. This epidemic looks just like what we've seen on our hunt for Cypher. So this is the weapon of mass destruction Cypher was working on in Africa. Boss, the situation is urgent. We need to quarantine the infected and contain the pathogen. Priority now is to prevent more casualties. But the problem is, how do we tell who's infected? During the incubation period, we have no way of knowing who's clean. You'll have to try and guess who's infected before they go symptomatic and quarantine them. That'd be easy if we just knew the route or vector of the infection. From now on, if you even suspect a staff member's infected, use your iDroid to order them into quarantine. Given the situation, the men won't submit to quarantine just because I or the medical team tell them to. But they will listen to you. Of course, it's just a temporary measure until we find a permanent solution. But at least they'd be in solitary isolation so they won't infect each other, and we get the mental care they need. If we do nothing, we'll only lose more people. We have no choice. Boss, open your iDroid. I'll explain how to quarantine staff members suspected of infection. Go to the Mother Base menu and select Staff Management. First, take a look at the quarantine facility we've set up. We'll isolate anyone who's already symptomatic at the quarantine facility. But we have to expect that there are multiple staff who are infected, but asymptomatic. So how do we identify them? At present, we have no way to tell them apart. But there has to be something for us to go on. If you notice anything, reassign staff you suspect are infected to the quarantine facility. We'll monitor them and then contact you if there's a change in their condition. Correctly quarantining these asymptomatic infected will reduce the number of new infections. You should continue with your missions as usual. If Cypher is behind this, going after them should help us determine the root cause of this epidemic. Also, until we identify the pathogen, we can't fire or dispatch any staff. We cannot let this thing spread. Boss, get to the bottom of this fast. We're counting on you. cops come in. It's a hit. I'm the human trafficker who sent Shabani and the others to Nzoya Badia Bulu, where you ran into Skullface. The thing is, this guy might know something about the disease that's going around Mother Base. The symptoms are similar to the ones we saw at that factory. Start by checking the mission details on your iDroid. The target is a PF logistics officer who works as a human trafficker on the side. The client wants him dead. He's currently on the run somewhere on the savannah with bodyguards. Unfortunately, we don't know what route they're taking. All we have to go on is a coded transmission sent by the PF at the Ditati abandoned village. It appears to be a workup of the target's security plans, but to decipher it, we'll need an intel file with the encryption key. This key should be at the comms facility at the Ditati abandoned village. Check your iDroid to see what the target looks like, as well as the location of the village. Find the route. Find the man.
Be careful down there, boss.
The target is on the move somewhere on the savannah. Problem is, we don't know what route he's taking. It's too big a search area to cover with